Look at you. You're sitting there staring at this screen, but your mind is back in that room. Your chest feels tight, and your breathing is shallow. Every time he walks in, you feel that spike of adrenaline. Not the good kind, but the kind that makes your hands cold and your stomach turn. You see him surrounded by those servants, the guys who carry his weight like they're his personal property. He throws out a joke about everyone being a parasite, and you say nothing. You swallow it, and it tastes like copper. You think you're being civilized, my friend, but you're just being hunted. I used to be exactly where you are. I let a monster take up residence in my head for free until I learned their dark secrets. I am here to wake you up. If your situation is uniquely complicated, if this Shadow King has his claws deeper into your life than just jokes, drop your story in the comments. I read them, and I will break it down for you personally. But today, we dissect the Shadow Court. You're expecting me to tell you to hit the gym or learn to shout back. Forget that. That's what he wants. He's a predator. He lives for the struggle. This technique requires you to be incredibly lazy. You will do absolutely nothing, but you will do it very strategically. They have used this trick on you because your silence was a yes. But today, their game ends. He will remember this day as the moment his throne started to rot. And at the very end of this video, I will give you the one exact phrase that shatters his control permanently. Watch closely. This isn't leadership. It's a dark trick I call the status osmosis. See? He knows he's just one man. Physically big, sure, but one man is easily ignored. To rule, he needs to absorb the dignity of others. When he makes those servants carry his things, he isn't just being lazy. He's extending his physical presence. He's making his shadow cover the whole room by using their bodies as his own. Here is how they were taught to build this fake empire. It starts with the weak link hunt. He doesn't go after the strongest person first. He finds the guy with the lowest self-esteem, the one who is desperate for protection or belonging. He gives that guy a job. By making someone carry his tray, he's testing the room. He's saying, if I can own this man, who else can I own? His next move is the collective silence trap. Every time he walks in and insults the group and nobody speaks, he wins a silent vote. In his mind, your silence is a contract. You are signing away your right to be respected. He uses the word parasites specifically because it's a projection. He is the one living off your energy. But by calling you the parasite, he flips the script. But before I give you the antidote, you need to see the trap in action. Think about the last time he walked in. He didn't start a fight. He didn't demand money. He just dropped that one word. Darmody. Parasites. He said it with a smirk, right? He's looking for a reaction, but not just any reaction. He's looking for the flinch. That smirk is a weapon. It's what psychologists call Schrodinger's insult. If you get angry, he says, "Whoa, it was just a joke. Why are you so sensitive?" If you stay silent, he knows he owns you. It's a win-win for him and a lose-lose for you. He's probing your boundaries like a burglar, checking to see if your windows are locked. Why does no one speak up? Because of the bystander paralysis. Everyone in that room is waiting for someone else to be the hero. They think, as long as he's picking on the group, and not me specifically, I'm safe. But here's the cold truth, my friend. In a room full of people who are afraid to speak, the loudest man, no matter how stupid he is, becomes the king. You feel that internal scream, don't you? The urge to stand up and tell him to shut his mouth. Or maybe the urge to go to the gym for 6 months just so you can take him down? That is exactly what he wants. I call this the primal bait. He wants a physical or emotional escalation because that's the only language he speaks fluently. If you fight him on his terms, you've already lost. If you explode, he wins. He becomes the alpha defending himself against the crazy guy. If you hide, he wins. He becomes the master of the parasites. To break him, you have to stop playing the game entirely. You have to become a ghost in his machine. I'm going to show you how to use the sovereign disconnect. But first, you need to understand the one thing he is absolutely terrified of. What is he actually afraid of? It's not a fist, it's the mirror void. A man like this survives on your reflection. If you look at him with fear, he feels powerful. If you look at him with anger, he feels relevant. But if you look at him and see nothing, he starts to disappear. He is a psychological vampire who is starving to death because you've closed your veins. It's time for the absolute zero. This is the magic pill I promised. It requires zero physical effort. When he walks into the room and drops his parasite comment, you are going to perform a system reset. You aren't going to look away and you aren't going to glare. You are going to look at him with the same amount of interest you'd give to a beige wall. Let's look at his specific weapon, the Darmody, or parasite joke. He says it to the whole room. He expects the room to ripple, some to laugh, some to look down. That ripple is his fuel. When he says it, I want you to use the diagnostic gaze. Instead of reacting to the insult, you're going to observe the man as if he's a malfunctioning piece of office equipment. When he catches your eye, and he will, he might try to double down. He might say, "What are you looking at? You one of them?" Here's your first blade. You don't defend. You don't attack. You use the pity pivot. You say exactly this. "You seem really tense today. Everything okay?" Read that again, my friend. You aren't being nice. You're diagnosing him as weak and unstable in front of everyone. Why does this work? Because you've just flipped the hierarchy. In his world, he is the judge, and you are the prisoner. By asking if he is okay, you've just stepped into the judge's chair. You've suggested that his alpha behavior is actually a sign of stress or a breakdown. His brain will short-circuit. He was prepared for a fight, but you gave him a get-well-soon card. It's humiliating. Now let's talk about his shadow court. The guys carrying his bags and trays. They aren't his friends. They are his human shields. They serve him because they think he's the safest place to be. You are going to use the compassion wedge. Don't ignore the servants. Look them in the eye and give them a small, sad smile. Not a mean one. A poor you smile. When the servants see that you aren't afraid of the king, they start to realize their protection is a lie. The moment the king looks frustrated because he can't get a rise out of you, the servants feel the weight of those bags getting heavier. You are attacking his supply line. Without his court, he's just a loud guy in an empty room. If he tries to clip you physically, walking too close, bumping your shoulder, or looming over you, use the statue technique. Do not move. Do not flinch. If he bumps you, stop moving entirely. Look at the spot where he touched you. Then look at him with a puzzled expression like he's a dog that just peed on the rug. Say, "Is that how you want to act right now?" This is the status drain. You are refusing to grant him the status of a threat. By treating his aggression as weird or childish rather than scary, you are stripping him of his only asset, his physical intimidation. He will feel a wave of social shame that his muscles can't protect him from. Muscles don't work against a cold, logical gaze. He is going to escalate. He has to. His whole identity is on the line. He might get louder. He might get more personal. This is the extinction burst, the final explosion of a dying behavior. Stay calm, my friend. You are the scientist, and he is the experiment. I'm about to give you the master phrase that will end this once and for all. When he realizes his parasite jokes aren't working, he will get personal. He'll try to drag you into the mud by attacking your work, your look, or your status. This is his last stand. I call this the desperation flare. He's throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks. Do not flinch. Do not defend. A man who is defending himself is a man who acknowledges the attacker's right to judge him. Here's the phrase that shatters his control permanently. I call it the ego drainer. When he finishes his rant or his insult, wait exactly 3 seconds. Let the silence hang in the air like a heavy fog. Then, with zero emotion, ask him, "Is this the reaction you were hoping for?" That's it. No more, no less. You've just exposed his entire motivation as a desperate plea for attention. Why does this phrase work? Because it labels him as a performer and you as the audience. A predator wants to be the director. He wants to move you like a puppet. By asking that question, you've told the entire room and his shadow court that he is just a little boy performing a trick for a reward he isn't going to get. His brain will enter a loop of pure, unadulterated panic. Watch his servants. When you use the ego drainer, they will stop looking at him and start looking at the floor. They can feel the shift in the atmosphere. They realize that the giant they were serving is actually terrified of a few simple words. The status osmosis reverses. His weakness starts to leak onto them, and they will instinctively move away from him to save their own dignity. He might try to laugh it off. He might say, "You're weird, man." That's his white flag. He's trying to exit the confrontation without losing face. Let him go. Don't chase him. Don't try to get the last word. Your silence after his retreat is the final nail. You've successfully performed a surgical disconnect. He is no longer a factor in your environment. He is just background noise. From this day forward, he will avoid you. Not because he respects you, but because you are the mirror that shows him how small he really is. He will stick to his dwindling court of servants because they are the only ones who still believe his lie. You have reclaimed your space. You didn't need a single punch. You just needed to be the only person in the room who wasn't afraid of the truth. This wasn't about him, my friend. It was about you. You've learned that alpha behavior is almost always a mask for extreme beta insecurity. A truly strong person doesn't need to call anyone a parasite. A truly strong person doesn't need people to carry their dishes. You have graduated from the school of the predator's playbook. You are now the one who sets the rules. I told you at the start that he used this trick on you because your silence was a yes. But your new silence is a no. It is the silence of a man who is so far above the game that he doesn't even hear the noise. Stay sharp. There are others like him out there, but they can't touch you now. You have the frequency. And now, for those of you who stayed until the end, here is the master key, the deepest psychological truth about why he is actually weak. He doesn't own those servants. They own him. He is so terrified of being alone and being seen as normal that he is a slave to their validation. If they stop carrying his bags, his entire personality dies. He is the most dependent, fragile person in that room. He isn't the king. He's the baby in the carriage, and they are the ones pushing it. Stop being a spectator in his theater. Close the curtain. Go out there and make him irrelevant. Now, move